Joining me now, Congressman Mike Rogers, Republican from Michigan and chairman of the House Intelligence Committee. Congressman, it's good of you to join us, and we do want to talk about security for members in just a moment, but this is also roiling out there, the McCarthy-Lautenberg bill. Will you support it?
No, actually, I think this serves the wrong purpose in this particular event, and I argue these are folks trying to take advantage for their political gain. Think about what this was. This was somebody who had certainly mental health issues early on, expressed a tendency toward violence. And what we should be doing is gathering up and saying, wow, this is interesting. He fits the same profile as the person that went on a shooting rampage at Virginia Tech University a couple of years ago. Why don't we try to figure out ways to get these folks connected to mental health services earlier on in their career? All of these bills coming out that have been around for a long time aren't going to solve this problem. What will solve this problem is removing the politics from it and getting after what is the crux of this problem, and that is somebody who needed mental health services and or legal intervention much earlier in his cycle toward violence.
In today's Washington Post, Congressman Eugene Robinson writes this, and I think this is an argument on the other side, quote, "We must recognize the obvious distinction between rifles, shotguns, and target pistols used for sport on the one hand, and semi-automatic handguns designed for killing people on the other." So the question people are asking on the other side is, why would a civilian need an oversized ammunition clip like the one Jared Loughner used?
Well, you're getting right back to the point of the Second Amendment, and the Second Amendment has been clearly defined, not only, I argue, in the Constitution, but by case law. And so why we would try to rehash this whole event when that was not the problem on that particular day. Again, that to me, that we're talking about the wrong thing. If we want to solve this kind of thing from happening, we have to intervene with somebody who has expressed tendencies toward violence, who has a pretty strong history of mental illness. And right now, we're not talking about that at all. Everybody's talking about, oh, this is about people having guns, this is about political speech. None of that had a factor here. And when you look at the evidence that has been collected up, this wasn't about politics. It was really about this person who had been turned down by a community college, which he viewed as the government, and he had the United States Army reject him. He had talked about violent acts in the past. His classmates were scared of this guy. Nothing happened in that interim. That's the time that we ought to be talking about. If we want to solve this from happening in the future, you can talk about all the gun laws you want. That's not going to do it. A bad guy is going to get a gun. What we have to do is intervene earlier in that cycle of violence when they have this kind of mental disability.
I want to talk very briefly about security, Congressman, because I know you were threatened in 2007. Your office in Michigan was broken into, chalk outlines drawn on the sidewalk. You're a former FBI agent. Do you think members need more security? What should we do?
Well, there's different security protocols, you know, zero all the way up to the bubble, we call it, where something like the president has 24-hour, 7-day-a-week back off distances so people can't get close to him, and all of that goes with that. That's not appropriate for members of Congress, and zero isn't either. So there are security protocols that members can do when they're back in their districts that will at least make it more difficult for something like this to happen. Hopefully we're engaging in that debate now. I think some members practiced it, some did not. I think you're going to see better participation as we move forward. Anything that we do cannot disrupt our members' ability to talk with the public and interact with the public. It's what we do. It's what we're supposed to do. It's why this form of government works better than any other in the world, for all its bumps, bruises, and warts, if you will.
Congressman Rogers, thanks for being on.